1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Lay It on the Table, the Southern Board Game Podcast, with the accent on Southern. It is Christmas time, folks, and we are here for our last episode of the year.
Yes.
And as per usual, this year, I am your Yuletide host, Joe Mahaffey. And of course, my partner in crime is always that I always talk over, and then he talks over me, and we never get it right. One day, we will get it down to syncopation. Go.
I am the Krampus co-host, James Engelhardt. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I had to think of something real quick there, too.
I know. I'm sorry about that.
It's all
That's
good.
the problem with, just not rehearsing these things and just going into it. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, works pretty well, though.
So, well, James, it's been a couple of weeks since we've had an opportunity to speak. One of us is older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole year, I hear.
Yeah, we had a good time. We were able to go out to a brewery with some friends and had a really nice time.
Good. Did you play any games? I mean, that's got to be the...
Yeah, you would think.
It's definitely the follow-up question. But
It's been a crazy couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And
no worries.
But here is the good news. The good news is this.
Oh, good.
I am off through the rest of the year.
Whoa,
so
that's amazing.
Go back to work until January 5th. Now, what that really means is I have a few meetings this week that I have to attend, but that's only because, I'm a team player.
Yeah. So a lot of dots, dashes, and meeples coming for you then the next couple of weeks?
Well, dots and dashes for sure, because I started the class, the fundamental class in January. So I got to get my brain back in gear. And then Dale and I, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but Dale and I have a plan for Christmas. We'll get into that in just a few minutes, but that's definitely in the plan. How about you guys? You got family coming to town, I would imagine?
No, we are heading up to Illinois to see Sky, and then over to see and snow. Yes, very cold weather. And then over to West Virginia to see Laura's folks, and then we'll be back here for New Year's first couple of weeks.
Oh, well, very cool.
After that, we'll just be here. And then Sky will go back to Illinois first week of January, something like that. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like it'll be a good season. So awesome.
It will.
And you will see snow. One way.
I'm hoping it's still on the ground by the time we're up there. Yeah. Next week.
I've been watching the cycles. It's gonna warm up the week of Christmas.
Alas.
And then I think it's gonna swing back around, and we'll start getting these polar vortexes again. This is not a weather podcast.
I was gonna say meteorology. Here we are.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, I can anyway.
Apparently, we've got some weather to talk about. Yeah.
As we do. Well, actually, I do have weather machine somewhere on the boards over here. Anyway.
But the other weather is economic weather, perhaps.
Yeah, I just dropped a few articles in the show notes below because I was just noticing some things. The CEO of Asmodee, or however you say it.
Asmodee,
was just sort of talking about, that it's a tough U.S. market and that people are gravitating to lower priced games. So Exploding Kittens are exploding.
Doing well, yep.
And, maybe those $100 board games are just not. And then, they're also saying, however, in Germany, despite the slowdown, board games are, doing pretty healthily.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there are people stuck inside, like, what are we going to do?
And I think there's a general cultural pushback against, general cultural pushback against screen time. So I think that might be part of it too. Like, what else are we going to do?
Could be.
Let's do that. Yeah.
And then, but then in the same notion of it, one of the third articles was, gotta read this very careful. Connie Vogelman, one of the designers of Apiary and Wormspan, she feels good enough about the industry that she's quitting her regular job to do it full time.
Yeah. Well, I saw that she was a grants attorney, so that kind of dried up a bit. So
yeah,
might as well pivot to something that's
but still, I mean, it's just kind of interesting indicators of the gaming industry. But then the last thing that kind of caught my attention, and again, we can kind of circle back on these. I'm just kind of setting the table here. was Professor Dungeon Master put out a video this week that was Dungeon Tube is dying, and here's why.
Okay, yeah.
And he does this on occasion. He tries to explain, and it's actually very informative. He tries to explain the impact of the algorithm. Now, you and I, we do this podcast. We don't really rely on the algorithm. I do put it on YouTube. That's not our main channel. I put it out through all the other channels, and people still don't find us. But which has nothing to do with the algorithm.
No.
But evidently, the way that the YouTube algorithm works is if you have people that are subscribed to you and you put out a new video, maybe a subset of the people will see it first. And if they like it or click on it or what have you, it will then take it to the other people. And it was just really interesting for him to kind of profile himself and some of the others that are actually started to leave the YouTube space. I mean, last year we lost Man Shorts, which did the D&D comedy routines, which we hated to see them.
Right.
Yep. Because we love their D&D Florida editions. And now that a plane landed on a car in Florida, we thought, why is there no Man Shorts?
Indeed. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. I think there's this idea, because I was thinking about this the other day. So we're at 2026 now, or coming up on 2026. Basically means we've had 10 years of Critical Role, and eventually you're going to get some measure of saturation out of that. I mean, I think about the D&D podcast that I used to listen to and how many I listen to now, which is 0.
There you go.
I don't think that's going to hurt Critical Role. I think they'll be fine, by the way. And then I think about the pandemic and what it did for tabletop role playing. And now that wave is sort of crested. And then Professor DM made a very interesting observation, which I can kind of agree with. And he's pretty astute because he's a high school teacher in real life. All the kids that were caught up in the Stranger Things wave and the Critical Role wave are now getting jobs, we hope. Maybe having kids, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And so it's a little harder to find that time to carve out. I mean, we see it in the game store, when, there are several people at the game store that when I met them were young people that were dating people that have now since gotten married, and some of them are starting families, and you just don't see them around the game store anymore. So it's just sort of an interesting juxtaposition that, part of it's economic, part of it's opportunistic, and part of it is just, I wonder if the cycle. And although the other observation he made is that every time D&D spikes, it's because of Stranger Things. And Stranger Things just released their final season. So, but I just don't know if it's going to have the same impact. I don't know. What are your thoughts, James?
Yeah, no, I don't know either, because I don't know how much D&D is going to figure into this iteration of Stranger Things. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet.
Same here.
Yeah, don't really know.
A few iterations behind, I think.
Yeah, no, and I think there is an interest in analog life. I have a friend who just finished a book about analog culture and philosophy, so that'll be interesting. So I think there's a lot of people that are kind of talking and thinking about it. So I wonder if that's part of the what's going on for Asmodee and others, as I had sort of alluded to earlier. And I think having games is a way to stay inside. And I think in times that feel a little tumultuous, it feels kind of grounded. You can just stay at home. We're not going to worry about anything. We're just going to be here together. And games have a way of really sucking your attention. We just finished up the semester at Furman and had a game day for my first year writing students. And they're like, oh, wow, I've got to go and take an exam in an hour, but I'm just kind of not feeling, I'm just here doing the thing right there, having a good time, playing goofy games, a lot of them, because they want to pick something light, but it absorbs their attention, right? And they get into it. And I think that might be part of it too, right? That you have that absorption. You don't have to, invest in a AAA title and sit down on your couch by yourself. You've got friends with you too.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair point, and I think, there is some merit, I think, to really cleansing the palate before you take an exam.
Mhm.
You sit there. I mean, I recently earned my amateur extra um, ham
So
radio
extra.
license, and I had to study for that. It was a 50-question exam,
Mhm.
and I finally got to the morning of the exam, and I completely had to do something completely different to clear
Mhm.
my head, to just kinda go in and sit down and take that test, and I passed, of course, because me.
Well
And,
done, sir.
well, the only other person that was taking a test with me was a 10-year-old girl getting her general license, daughter of a
That's awesome.
daughter of a friend of mine, so it was just kinda fun to her test was only 30 questions, and so she was down way.
Awesome. Yeah, so, yeah, it's a and but I think that that same kind of thing, the way that games can take your mind off the exam, that can take your mind off of all kinds of stuff. You can sit there. There's a book by his last name is Therm, um, and he talks about when his grandfather was dying. He sat down with his siblings in the sort of waiting room in the hospital, and they started playing Catan. They've been playing Catan for a couple of months at that point, and we're just like, what else? That's everybody else is like either watching the TV or silently. You're like, this is an end of care kind of space, right? And this takes our mind away from it, which is kind of an extreme example, but an interesting chapter, an interesting reading, and it's a strong argument.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I might need to send me a link to that. I'd be curious to, at the very least, read a synopsis of it. Cool. Yeah. But, it's interesting though, but as we kind of, segue into the next piece of this is, I didn't really bring any games to talk about today. As
Right?
played because we've, since the last time we met, um, because I'm taking the remainder of the year off, it's been very busy and it's been very difficult to
Oh
do
yeah,
all that stuff. So, um, I kind of got it in my head that, we need to do the 12 days of gaming for Christmas. Now
nice.
I've put a video in the show notes called the 12 board games to play at Christmas. I do not endorse this list necessarily. It is not the list that I'm going to play, but it was just something to remind me that Dale and I need to pick 12 games, preferably games that we haven't played.
Right?
And I'll talk about some of the games that we've recently added to the collection a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I feel like that it's important that while I've got this time off, obviously I'm going to be off for more than 12 days. I don't think we're going to be able to play a game every day. We got to, Christmas Day, we got to go see the parents,
Sure.
her parents, because this is the first Christmas without my mom.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
so it changes the dynamic a little bit. But I think there's some games that we can get on the table and play. And then our, daughters will be home and they've already expressed an interest in playing some games.
Awesome.
So yeah, we'll be all about that as well.
No, I think that's great. I know that when Sky's here, we will probably figure out a game a day, you know, give or take. And so that'll be, I mean, it's again, these are just fantastic ways to connect with people, to learn more about people, to just spend time that even when you're like, we don't have to just look at a screen. I like watching movies, like watching shows, but it's more fun to interact with somebody face to face, right? This is part of the advantage of this hobby, right?
Yep. Nope. 100%. But
Yeah.
if you were to spend some time looking at the screen, Ben Stiller has a really nice documentary on his parents, Stiller and Mira.
Ah, okay.
Stiller and Mara. Sorry, I got to say it right. We watched it this week. It was very good.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Excuse me, gosh. But Dale actually had a question for us to ponder, and
Awesome.
her question was because she knew I didn't have any games to talk about this week. If I had, she would have played them with. And she goes, what do you guys? This was really her question to both of us. So, what do you guys think about themed board games? And I don't think she means like, oh, it's a board game with a vampire theme. She means more like, this is Harry Potter Wizard's Chess,
Hmm.
or this is the Britney Spears Monopoly edition, which
Right.
does exist. Just so you know.
Yes.
So along those lines, and of course, you've got a number of things out there. But so before I kind of get into it, I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Well, so there's a couple of different levels to this, right? So one is just the quick media tie-in, like the Britney Spears or SpongeBob Monopoly or whatever else, right? And it's just the same game with a new skin on it, right? And that's and which is designed simply to support the media property and have sort of collectors or enthusiasts snatch it up. Though outside of that, and I think that was like most of the history has been around that kind of thing, right? I remember a lot of as a kid games like that, right? So it's just some kind of theme for whatever game it is, shoots and ladders or what have you, right? And so we're back together, and they're fine. People want them. I'm much more interested in the last 20 or so years where we've had like really good theme, games around IPs, right? So there's a whole wealth of Lord of the Rings stuff, the trick taking game, the version of Pandemic, right? That just dropped. So all of those. And I think if you're working to like match the setting to that kind of IP, it can work really well. It gives you a lot of ideas about what you want this to feel like, look like, sound like, what you want to have people doing. So yeah, but those are two different worlds, as it were.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that, by the way, because I kind of feel like I'm more interested in a branded game or a themed game if I feel like it's putting me in the story. Like Lord of the Rings is one of those, is a great example of that. I
Mm-hmm.
think the Villainous series is an example of that, where you kind of get to take your flavor of villain, and quite frankly, it's very compatible. You can choose your villain versus somebody else's villain and from a different franchise, and you can still kind of play your game, right? And I think that that lends itself to putting yourself to take the story the way you want to. It's kind of like you're writing your own. I don't want to say fanfic, but
Right.
I just said it.
Sure. Well, I mean, the Horrified series does a bit of this as well, right? Like
Sure.
pick your set of monsters you want to play with. So we've got Laura's a big fan of cryptids, so we have the cryptid one, right? And you know, some of them in the past, like there is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer board game from the 90s that's actually quite good. What? How did that happen? So occasionally those that are just designed for media, money grabs, actually end up working out from time to time, which is, I mean, there's a short list of ones that people are like, oh yeah, you should check this one out. The Angela Lansbury Murder, She Wrote is actually an interesting little deduction game too. So,
Interesting.
Weird games from the past.
And I've used the Stranger Things Dungeons and Dragons edition,
Oh, yeah.
which of course everybody bought because they wanted the mini.
Mm-hmm.
But I've used that as a one shot to introduce D&D to many people.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think there's a lot of several Harry Potter games, and almost all of them seem to be good, except for the Wizard Chest is just chess with
Wizard.
yeah,
And they don't
with
move.
the wizardry stuff.
It's like this. They don't really move.
Mm-mm.
That
Disappointing. So many goats I sacrificed to get them to move, and yet nothing. It's like a charnel pit out back, I tell you.
I don't remember that being the impetus to make them move was sacrificing goats. But anyway.
We work with what you got.
What do I know? So, but yeah, no, I think it's just sort of it was an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
And a really interesting question in light of the last conversation we had where, they were able to game out of A Christmas Carol, but it's not quite that way, but it put you in the story. And I think that was sort of the thing. Right.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we were talking about too just a second ago with the, you have to find a good match of the mechanism to the project, which is what he worked on a lot to sort of bring it together. So it felt like you were part of the story. Like, how do you solve these plot points? How do you get them through these? And, if you're thinking very carefully about that stuff, as he did, then it ends up being a great product, right? And if you're just, once again, slapping SpongeBob on something because kids will want to see the SpongeBob.
Well, I just want a submergible pineapple for my fish tank.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was an interesting question, and I think as we come along, as we come across things that are themed this way, we should probably revisit this topic from time to time. I know as we've walked through the Barnes and Noble here lately, I think you see a lot of this type of thing in a Barnes and Noble or a Target, just because you have the absence of all the other places you used to go to find these things, like the Toys R Us or the places like that. So it's kind of interesting because you don't really see. I typically do not see these themed games in your local game store.
No.
On occasion, I will admit that I have seen the Britney Spears Monopoly in Atomic Empire in Durham, North Carolina. But I think they have a shelf that is designed for the class of product that are really targeted toward the collector, so they can kind of go and go, oh, I need that and that and that, that sort of thing. But I don't see it in volume.
Yeah. I mean, I think the other crossover is going to be other geekery. So a lot of the Lord of the Rings stuff, Harry Potter things. I will see that at Boardwalk.
Sure. Yeah. Those for sure. I mean,
anything set in Westeros.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, I think we talked about that a couple of years ago when we went to the beach and found out that Game of Thrones was all over the game store down there versus I wasn't seeing it where we were. So it was just interesting. Anyway. Well, we'll continue to keep a beat on that. Since I don't have anything to talk about on my table.
I've had a couple on my table. Yeah.
Let's hear about that. And then,
Yeah. So I have 3 quick ones. So Emerson's getting older. He's 4.5 at this point. So
by
the
way.
I know they keep doing it. There's a whole lot of games we can play with Sky because she's, almost 17.
Is he taller than you yet?
I mean, he's like he's getting close to Laura. It's kind of funny. Yeah. But, but you're hoping that like they'll find something. And so I was like, okay, well, the kid version of King Domino is Dragomino. This is a 2020 release by Blue Orange with Bruno Catala, Maria Faure, and Wilfred Faure working on it. And I was like, is this going to work? It says it's like 5, but I'm like, I'm thinking this kid is going to be okay with this. And we had he doesn't pick up the...
It's almost like his parents are college professors.
I know, it's weird. Yeah. So he's got, so it's got the same kind of domino thing, right? That you do for King Domino, where you've got like 4 dominoes on display. First person grabs one second. So it's a lot more streamlined that way. And you don't have to worry about a 5x5 grid. So some of that kind of stuff goes away. When you match up terrains like grasslands, forest, whatever, there's little dragon eggs that are, little egg tokens that then you put down, you flip it over on that little intersection, and you either get a little dragon, which is a point at the end of the game, or a broken egg. But the broken egg summons the mommy dragon. It is actually the mommy dragon in the rules. So mommy dragon flies to you, and you will get to be, if you're the last person with the mommy dragon in that round, then you get to be the first player next round.
Nice.
So yeah, you just flush the rest of the dominoes, lay them out, you play through all the dominoes. Whoever has the most points, which is either baby dragons and the mommy dragon, wins. It's super cute. But it actually, like, we're playing a couple of games where it's you don't get as many choices. You've just got a card or whatever. It's not quite as, never really gone down the Candyland thing, but still this one it moved very quickly. You have choices. You can actually start to strategize. Like, if I put these dominoes like this, then if I get another one and I can, get both of those to fire off. And this is the kind of nuance that Emerson is missing. Which is fine. He's 4.5, but he has a good time. They're big, chunky, cardboard things. So he's having a good time with that. So yeah. So we've been playing a bit of that. And then last night we had a game night over at the house, and we played at my table Abyss, which is going back. I seem to be, the group of the fully cooked, right, as opposed to the fresh. So Abyss from 2014. This was also Bruno Cathala. Apparently, I've been having a Bruno Cathala kick recently.
Well, it's funny
So
'cause
and
the artwork looks the Planet of the Apes reboot movie poster.
I've got him right behind me here. Yeah, you're under the sea. Well, and Dragomino is back over here. There we go, little cute guy there. And so this is 2014 Bruno Cathala again, Charles Chevalier, and published by Bombix, and distributed by Asmodee, as we were discussing earlier. So, and there are 4 different sets. They had a little stunt box thing there, so they had 4 different like sea monsters that you could get. This is the one I ended up with. There it is. And in this one, this is a little more complicated than King Domino or than Dragon Domino.
So you didn't have Emerson in this one?
No, he wasn't. He was going to skip to this one. So you are underwater rulers trying to develop your kingdom by drafting allies, which are little bitty cards that have like shellfish and jellyfish and squids and all kinds of stuff. So you're getting them to recruit. So you're getting sets of that to recruit lords, which are bigger cards, and they have unique powers, which break the game in some way or another. And some of these lords have keys on them, and you get 3 keys together, and you immediately have to put down a location, which is great because it's game end scoring, so you want that, right? But they also cover up the powers of the lords with the keys on them. So you get a little bit of an engine going, and then you backed off, and you grab it up, spin it up a little bit with different lords, and then that shuts down, but you're getting points. You end the game with you have 7 lords in front of you. And it's interesting because it's a lot of trade-off decisions. I was kind of alluding to it a second ago, right? You can auction off ally cards as they're coming up for money, which are pearls in this case, and hope to get, as they're continuing to flop them out, good cards for yourself. Maybe there's a monster card which lets you do some other things. And again, you grab a bunch of the lords for their powers and avoid getting keys. So some of them do, some of them don't, and just kind of push the game forward and build up an engine. Or do you grab as many locations as you can, always going for those keys to get the points? And I think it's got just enough interlocked systems that it's compelling, and you've got those choices that are part of that interlocking, but without a lot of extra to try to keep track of, right? It's pretty streamlined, really stripped out. I do love me a game with a bunch of stuff in it. That's fair. But it's also kind of fun to play one that is a little more, it's 11 years ago, 12 years ago now. And it's just nicely like, okay, we're just doing this thing. There's a lot going on, but it's pretty.
It sounds like the plot to the Aquaman movie.
It is. This is one. If we're going to do a retheming or an IP, yeah,
I think
this is the one we need the IP. Yeah, Aquaman is the right one.
I mean, they could reskin that and call it the Aquaman.
Oh yeah, no, Bombix, you should reach out to Marvel
or DC because that would be more.
It would be DC. God, yep, nope, that is a wrong universe. My mistake entirely.
All good.
Yeah. So
I'm here to correct.
It's what?
So I'm here to correct you.
Oh, yes, appreciate that. But it's very approachable for as much as it has going on. Really approachable, and I think they've reprinted it. So there's like I was reading stuff online. They're like, oh yeah, since they did this, it takes this out. It's like, oh, they've got it. So it's out there. It's available, I suppose. You can track it down. If you like weird under the sea stuff, it's super fun.
Hey, we're back to SpongeBob.
Exactly. This is the SpongeBob episode. I don't know if anybody noticed that yet, but that's definitely what we've got.
Sure.
And then we had that game at my table for, I don't know, hour and change. And then other tables finished up, and we played a game of Say Anything. Once again, going back in time, it's a 2008 release. North Star Games, Dominic Krapachet, and Satish Flalamari. And this is a classic. This has nothing to do with the 80s movie.
I was going to say, do you have to hold a boombox over your head for the whole?
That's how it starts. Everybody's holding a boombox, but it's this little abstract. Yeah. I know, because it would be fun, but instead you just got little quote, those little like speech bubbles as opposed to the boom boxes, alas. And this is a classic sort of match the active player's question prompt, whatever it is, right? So like apples to apples, Dixit, Cards Against Humanity, stuff like that. The twist is that you've got your own little whiteboard, and so they're saying their thing, and then you write what you think is going to be the best answer, which is camp. I was playing with my students, and some of them were a little flustered by this because it can be a little like, be funny, be smart, write something down, and you can kind of get vapor lock. The nice thing about apples to apples or cards, right, is that it gives you an answer you can just toss on the table.
Right.
So this one you have to write one down. And then the active player secretly chooses an answer. You've got a little chart on the back of your whiteboard that has all the colors. So you choose one, and then everybody gets to vote on what they think you chose, and then points are distributed. It's super fun. It's this, like all of those match ones. It gives you a chance to have conversations, and because it's not telling you like what you have to put down, like what cards you can use, it can be very church friendly. Or it can be, Cards Against Humanity adjacent, because you can write whatever you want. And
Yeah.
so you learn something about your friends that way too.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Believe me, in the years that we did youth group, we did a lot of apples to apples.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that I'm very familiar with. Anyway, that sounds cool. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
And now, was that you did that at your house as well as with your students? Is that what you were saying? I want to make sure I heard that.
So I played this with my students and then brought it out for game night here. Oddly, very similar kinds of responses. My students kind of forgot that I was at the table, and so they said all kinds of things that, I dare not repeat. So yeah.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, it was super fun, and yeah. And you learn some holes in students' information and knowledge. So one of the answers, someone had written down their answer as OBGYN, like, what's a weird job to have then? And so this one dude at the table was like, what's an OBGYN? So then there's a table of like 4 women and 2 guys, and the women are all looking at each other like, I don't know.
Nobody brought up Obi-Wan Kenobi's brother or anything like that.
Yeah, no. They're just like, so yeah, that was a funny, awkward moment.
Well, those are nice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he probably deserved it too. Like, no, you should know more about the world, man. So
fair. Yeah. But nobody decided to educate him.
Eventually, one of the young women was like, it's a lady parts doctor. Like, well, it took everybody a while to get to the, like, what do we actually say? So,
well, I honestly think when I was in college, if you had said OBGYN to me, I probably would not have registered. But if you had said gynecologist, I would know exactly what you're talking about. So maybe it's just, there's not enough exposure to it to know the shortcut.
Right.
So to speak.
Well, somebody did say gynecologist, and he still didn't know what they were talking about.
A different problem.
Yeah. So, but it's a fun game. And if you can track it down a copy, it's it's that same sort of school of party game. So, and yeah, it's nice.
And in defense of your students, he did not grow up with the Cosby Show where Bill Cosby played a gynecologist working out.
This is true.
Which was weird in and of itself. I think there was other context clues with that whole thing. Never mind.
Yeah.
Not what we're here to talk about.
No. We can go back to the weather, though.
Yeah, that's fair. It's cold. It's getting colder again. It was warm here this morning.
Yeah. It was nice.
So,
and then you've got some new stuff, though, coming through.
Yeah, so this kind of goes back to that whole idea that Dale and I need to play the 12 games of Christmas. And I don't mean that to be games like, we're going to play one that we're like the 5 golden rings, and then we're going to play the Lords of Leaping and all that stuff. We're just going to, because I'm taking some time off and we're kind of getting our, house set for Christmas, we want to take advantage of that time and play some games. And I got 3 games that have added to the list. I'll probably play 2 of these 3 with her. I don't know.
These are some big ones.
Well, we talk about Vita Lacerda a lot, but they're typically harder games to get on the table because they're not fast. they're not easy to pull out and get on the table sometimes.
No.
But I did pick up the 2 of Eagle Griffin games have arrived. The one is Speakeasy, which, love that little mobster kind of thing. This is a Vita Lacerda game. So it's nice, big and chunky and hefty. And, you're back in the roaring 20s and you're at a, Lord knows get what you're at a speakeasy. And so this is a worker placement card management game, and you take on the role of the mobster, one of the mobsters, and you're managing and operating your own speakeasy in Manhattan.
As one does.
Selling olive oil as a front, I guess. I don't know. But you need to hire goons that are all dressed alike and, have fun nicknames.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, like the Batman
Tiny.
villain.
Lefty, yeah. Mumbles. Oh, that's not Batman, sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. And it's just, make the most money and become the most successful mobster in the city. So we'll see. We'll play that through and give it a go. It's up to 1 to 4 players, and it can be anywhere from 50 to 180 minutes. And the thing about, playing games that
That's
are
a
new.
stretch. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that if you have 4 players.
We're looking at 180, yeah.
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 So we'll probably play with 2.
Bring it down.
But the thing about it is that number one, the first time you play, for us, this is for us. The first time we play a game, it takes a little longer, and we always question ourselves: are we playing it right?
Yeah.
And we'll make notes like, are we doing this right? We'll look for it in the rule book because this is where that rule book emotional intelligence comes into play.
Yeah.
Where you learn the difference between and or and all that good stuff. So we find ourselves going through the rule book.
Right. The may versus must. Yeah.
Right. Now, by the way, pro tip, Google, our friends at Google have a free web-based tool called lm.notebook or lmnotebook.com. Just go to lmnotebook.com and you'll find it. And it's basically a public free AI tool. Now, the way I use this tool is I have different notebooks for things that I'm working on. So, for example, all of my appliances I have a notebook for, and I have uploaded the PDF of the notebook of all these appliances in there. So now, when I need to know how to change the filter and say the refrigerator, I can go to the Chat GPT of Notebook AI, or it's not Chat GPT. I go to the LM notebook and I type in, how do I change the filter in the refrigerator? And it comes back and it gives me detailed step-by-step answers.
Nice.
So, and then all of my ham radio gear, same thing. When I was studying for the amateur extra test, I threw a bunch of stuff in there and it would quiz me back.
Nice.
So this might be good. This might be a good tip for your students too.
Yeah.
It's actually replacing, poor Quizlet is going out of business, I think, because of AI.
Yeah.
I'm sure that as a professor that's very disappointing for you. Anyway, so you obviously know where I'm going with this is when I can get PDF versions of the manual, I'm throwing them up into Notebook because that way when we're there and we're like, is this, instead of me flip, I can just say,
it's suddenly searchable. Yeah.
And so I think that is a really good use case for, and the reason I say that because you don't have to pay for anything to use it.
Nice.
And you're not putting up anything that is going to train the language the LLM is what they call the large language model. You're not training the large language model on any of your personal identifiable information or PII because it's somebody else's PDF. And so, because Google's just hoovering all that stuff up to improve Gemini, which is their tool, which I'm fine with as long as it's not my PII. So anyway, pro tip, LM Google Notebook. Yep, check it out. It's a really good tool. I have found many use cases for it, and this from the game hobby is a great one. So anyway, we'll probably leverage that if we can find a PDF of the book. So that's one. I think we'll get that on the table. The next one is La Pâtisserie Rococo. You're gonna correct me.
That works. Sounds good.
It is an Eagle Griffin game.
Mm-hmm.
It is not Vita Lacerda,
Right.
and therefore the box is significantly smaller. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the size of Tokaido.
Right. It's Stefan Maltz and Louis Maltz,
Yeah,
who do a lot of good work.
they do. They do. And
Mhm.
this is the Rococo era of Louis XV,
Mhm.
who was the deluge, because Louis XIV was après moi le déluge.
Oui? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and so it was another Gardens in Versailles. So I think because we got the artistry version of La Rococo recently from the people that brought us Botany and others, I feel like we can maybe even have a little Rococo fest, because that's another game we got to get on the table. So I just I like to sometimes figure out how can I get thematic games from the Empire era.
There you go.
Might be sort of a way to do that as well. So my sense is we'll get this out on the table.
Yeah.
But the players, you're going to represent yourself as in a pastry shop.
Mhm.
Probably that's why you want to say that French word for me, les pâtisseries.
La pâtisserie. La pâtisserie. Pâtisserie. Oui.
The plural here. There's an les here, like,
Mhm. Oh, yeah, here on the Yeah. Okay, cool.
But you're right. No. You're right on the game. The game is La Pâtisserie Rococo.
Mhm.
You would never know I took French in high school. You would never know. Anyway,
Well, and I loved Rococo as a game was fabulous. So it's interesting to see this as their next well, there's several other ones, right? That they've got this sort of Rococo thing going.
yeah,
But yeah.
I think it's once that's the thing about some designers. They kind of get into what is their shtick, I guess.
Mhm.
Is their
Yeah.
it's like whether it's I would not say that Elizabeth Hargraves is just about birds, but she is all about something from the environment, that you learn something as you're playing the game, and the game's enjoyable with the mechanic that you have.
Yep.
That
Uwe Rosenberg is going to give you tiles and polyominoes. Yeah. Yep.
exactly. So I think that when you see that kind of come around, and Vita Lacerda is just going to give you a brick of a game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
my agile friends love it when I pull out Kanban.
Well, I bet they do. Like we just live that shit. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Well, when
And
you're
that's
taking an agile certification class, and all of a sudden you pull out a board game, people are like, "What?"
no, trust me, y'all. This is gonna work. This is gonna
Gonna
work.
work.
Yeah.
So
It
then
looks like it looks like a fairly heavy game though, at that 3.5 roughly on the scale. So
yeah, and my sense is that Eagle Griffin games.
Mhm.
I think we've talked about this before. The owner of the publishing company, we still got to get him on this podcast.
Yeah.
Is a University of North Carolina Charlotte graduate, friend of
Right.
Rob, the game store owner, Carolina Tabletop Games. But I think he lives in
Yeah.
Arizona. I think that's why
Oh,
he's.
okay.
But anyway, I'll track him down. I'll figure. I've still got some people from Mythicon that we need to get on. When we get into FY26, so we'll work on that.
Mhm.
But then the last game that I've recently picked up, I'm not sure we're going to get to this one. It is the Stonemeyer games, the Jamie Stegmeyer, the Advantage.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I don't think we're going to get this on the table is that this is almost like a D&D campaign.
Yeah. Well, and what I hear is that it can go pretty quickly, and I think just with 2 it might do pretty well, and you just close it back up and away you go.
Yeah.
But if if Dale is not into the sort of open world exploration, I think it's a non-starter really.
Well, I think I'll certainly give her the option. I think what we'll do, there is a watch it played. Thank you, Rodney. And I'll let her kind of determine if that's something that she's interested in kind of getting her arms around. So I think that we'll kind of see. So maybe we'll come back in FY26 and I tell you that we played it and that's the only game we played for 12 days. Who knows?
We explored the whole damn planet. Yeah.
We did. Yes. We found Spock. We brought him back to life. I looked away during the fanfare.
It found the Statue of Liberty off the coast there. Yeah. Covered in sand. Yeah. You bastards. Yeah. Perfect.
We did it. Anyway, so we'll see. We got some other games. Obviously, I want to play the Spirit of Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that seems like you have to. Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually have another one called Santa's Workshop that we've never played.
Okay.
Because one of those things that we feel like we should play at Christmas time. So I think now's the time to pull that out. I'm still waiting for Horrified with Krampus. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Go around.
Yeah, holiday. Yeah, that'd be a great one. Holiday themed Horrified.
Yeah. But
like
yeah, if they're listening, which we know they're not, they could look it out. Maybe I'll put it in the metadata and it'll pop up some.
Well, yeah, some spider will grab it.
Perhaps. And then I still want to get Luthier out. I think that one that I could get out. And then we're kind of getting the house put together. We're talking about making some additions to the house.
Okay.
We want to try to start having, get back in the groove of being able to have people over to play some games. And so hopefully that will also, I don't think that'll happen necessarily over Christmas, but it'll hopefully get us back in the groove
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I kind of have planned. But,
that sounds
here's
fantastic.
the thing. These games show up. Both Speakeasy and Rococo had little cards saying, "Oh, by the way, the Great Library is out."
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, oh, crap. I went into Kickstarter and there it was. And I'm like, well, it's probably not going to interest me. And it's all about the Library of Alexandria. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, it is.
Back.
And they've done well for their
Yeah, they have. I think they knew they were going to do well. I mean, it's just the on this thing is spot on. So I find that to be very, very interesting. It feeds that history itch.
Yeah.
Scratches that history itch, I should say.
And more Vital Lacerda.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Vital or Vital or whatever.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah. Jaime. All right. So
and we can, I mean, it's got the lovely, tool treatment. And so even though there's a lot going on, it seems pretty clean in terms of its design, which again, it's what you
need. They're promising certain enhancements as they hit certain dates rather than certain milestones. I think it was gonna go well.
Yeah. That suggests that they have stuff already planted in the pipeline as opposed to just sort of, here's the thing we could do. One
thing I like about Eagle Griffin is that they don't really try to nickel and dime it.
Yeah.
Here's the basic with some tchotchkes that'll enhance the game. Here's if you want an advanced copy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can wait. I don't need it right now. I got plenty of stuff I haven't played.
Yeah.
So,
but speaking of things that people are waiting for,
yes,
Toon and Nog was supposed to be here in September, and Grand Gamers Guild kept putting little no, it'll be a little bit. And I think the problem here is that their fulfillment partner has not been the best partner. So, and hasn't done them any favors in terms of goodwill with the backers. But I have a shipping note email and I have a tracking number, and it is in somewhere between here and Greensboro right now, and it should be here tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to go diving into the history of Ireland tomorrow night is my plan. But it's interesting. I think that moment where you're like, we're gonna give it to a shipping part to a fulfillment center, right? And then you clearly, whatever your project is, kind of gets kicked back onto their back burner, and there's not a thing you can do to make them move faster, and then it becomes really frustrating for the backers, right? Because we're saying, okay, great, so there's some delays, but it should be October, awesome. Okay, not October. What's it? Yeah. So, but I've been excited about this game for a long time. So hopefully tomorrow there will be a box from Grand Gamers Guild on my porch. It should be lovely.
So I can intercept it before it gets there. It's gotta go from
You
green.
could do that, yeah, if you ran really fast, yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I have gotten 2 emails recently. One that says postcards is on the way.
Hey, cool.
And I got one from the people Darwin's Oceana.
Oh, nice.
Darwin's Journey Oceana is on the
Mhm.
way. But I didn't put them on the list because they had not arrived yet. That was sort of, my basis. Not judging yours. But it's interesting. I thought recently because we started this talking about themed games,
Mhm.
and I backed a game a while ago called Escape from Arkham. It's a Batman themed game,
Yeah.
and I was really 50-50 as to whether I should back it. It wasn't on Kickstarter. It was purely on GameFound, which is typical backer kit people. And this was one of the first ones that they had done, and it was with a designer that I knew. Night Models. They did the Harry Potter mini games.
Nice.
They had already done it. So they have a license from Warner Brothers to do Batman and Harry Potter.
Nice.
They're based in Spain. They've always been very fair and easy to work with.
Fantastic.
But this game has gone dead silent. And
It's been when was that Kickstarter run or the GameFound or yeah?
It's been a hot minute. It's been at least 2 years, maybe
That's
more.
what I thought. Okay.
And it was one of those things where I'd even forgotten about it. And then I was like, I haven't seen anything on that in a while. And I went in and I looked and I'm afraid it's that maybe they're, maybe they grew too fast and now they're in trouble and now they don't know what to do. I don't know. And I think Warner Brothers is a little distracted right now.
So yeah.
So I don't think so. Who do you call?
Yeah.
You call the guy
and I think this is the reason I wanted to touch on Tyranno was for exactly that kind of thing, right? Like sometimes it's your company that overextends themselves and they're out. But sometimes you've got another partner along the way that just kind of isn't necessarily the best partner, right? And you don't know that until you get to a project like this and you're like, oh my God, all these backers are like writing me, hateful notes on the, the GameFound page. And all I can say is what the fulfillment partner tells me. Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, none of these things are guaranteed.
Right. Oh yeah, true.
When I did the chess thing, I didn't know who those people were. Eventually got the product and it was exactly what I asked for. This is the first time that, another one has come around like that. And I'm kind of like, wonder if it's going to happen or not.
Yep.
So anyway, we'll see.
Yeah. Other cautionary tales are out there too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is, it's not a guaranteed thing, but that's, I think we take for granted that there are certain publishers, Eagle Griffin is a great example, that will use the Kickstarter to prime the inventory. You're going to, but it's very low risk. You're going to get the product. In fact, the Rococo project, I think, was in less than a year.
Flat Out Games does the same kind of thing where they're like, we have it all ready to go. All we need to do is just sort of judge the market and say, yep, excellent. We're just going to hit print now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think Propolis came out maybe 9 months after the Kickstarter.
Yeah, and I think that's a reasonable thing because we've now obviously COVID got us used to waiting and
Mhm.
waiting. But actually, the very first Kickstarter I did had some nuances to it because it was a book. It was like a D&D book set in
Okay.
Korean mythology, and
That's cool.
the Kickstarter level I got to help define a character, and I defined him around my brother.
That's awesome.
But the guy was, a French national living in Korea doing this project, and he pretty much did it all himself,
Which is amazing.
including the shipping, which is one of the reasons why it just, took forever.
Mhm.
But anyway. So live and learn.
Yeah.
We'll see how that rolls around. I think that I have a little bit more faith just because it is Night Models and they're known to me and I trust them, or I've trusted them in the past, and it's a Warner IP that something will happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I just don't know what that something will be.
Well, stay tuned, people.
Stay tuned. We'll talk if it comes in, we'll talk about it. If it doesn't come in and
Awesome.
pisses me off, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we've gone a little over an hour, ish here. I hope you and your family have a wonderful holiday season and get to spend time with family and all that stuff. I hope that your daughter has not become a snarky teenager.
No, she's pretty awesome. And I hope your holidays are fantastic as well. Doesn't sound like a whole lot of travel, but people are coming to you, so that's nice.
Well, we'll head down to Spartanburg for a little bit, but you'll be gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's
So
an hour. It's not like, you're driving to Denver or something.
fair. We're definitely not doing the route you're doing.
Yeah. Just let it go. Yeah. Drive car. Yeah. Yeah. So, and they have a big screen for the 4.5-year-old to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can leave him in the car with the air running.
Perfect.
Oh, wait, that's the dog mode. I'm sorry. Never mind. Don't do that with don't do that with your child, please.
No.
Anyway. All right. Well, folks, this is the last episode for FY25. We will be back in the new year with season 5 of Lay It on the Table. And hopefully we'll have a new series of guests and games to talk about and watch as this industry continues to evolve. But until that time, I'm Joe Mahaffey, and I am not bored. I am bored gaming.
And I'm James Engelhardt, and I hope that all your tiebreakers break your way.
Have a great holiday season, folks, and we'll see you in the new year.
Happy holidays, everybody.